gentlemen.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Poker Central podcast, joined by Brent Hanks and Joey Ingram. Chicago Joey Ingram 1.
Let's do it.
Are you ever going to drop the 1, or is the 1 always going to stay?
I'm going with it for us.
The 1 stay.
Joey Ingram 1, a.k.a. Chicago Joey, a.k.a. whatever you want. Whatever you
What
want
if, what if online poker never comes back?
I don't know.
You're just gonna be
It's coming back. It's coming back in America at some point. I'll lead the charge. It's coming back 100%.
Wow.
100%.
I'm already excited.
I'll lead the charge. I'll make 1,000 videos if I got to at some point in time, but I think it's going to come back.
All right, I'm going to start hot and heavy right off the bat.
Let's do it.
Does poker need more drama?
Well, I mean, I think it's what do you mean by that exactly? Does poker need more drama? I don't think it needs any more drama. The thing is, like, are people incredibly fake and they don't actually talk about what they are saying behind the scenes and they don't share that publicly? Absolutely, yes, right?
Yeah.
There's so much people talking shit. When you go to the Win, you go to the high-stakes poker rooms, you go to any tournament stop, you talk to these guys privately. You know, they're not necessarily as nice or as sweet as they pretend to be on different social media platforms because they don't want to deal with the backlash that comes from putting themselves out there, like my man Luke Schwartz does. So there is more drama happening, but it's just that the people who, right, like, I know a lot of drama, but it's nothing I'm going to talk about because it's like there's no real reason to talk about it. Whereas somebody like Luke Schwartz puts something up about Phil Galfond on social media, you know, then it's like, okay, let's discuss it because he's making some serious comments about Phil and question his credibility and question where his stance is in the poker world and his poker site. And, you know, so I think that's,
Did you think,
one
though,
thing
that
to
Luke,
discuss.
you saw that, though, he was joking, right? He was sort of half-assing
I mean, yeah, if someone jokes about you and
Yeah.
says that you're washed up, you can't win, and basically saying that your coaching site is a fraud as well, too, right? So if you're
Right.
saying that, the guy runs a business where he's coaching players, and then if you call this guy, say this guy's washed up, other people who are uneducated see that and say, okay, well, you know, maybe this guy's right, maybe he is. I'm not going to want to learn from this guy, or I don't want to go to this guy's site, or I'm not going to want to play on his poker
so
site.
you think it
and
took a
support
shot
it.
at the business?
Of course he did. Yeah,
Wow.
of course, multiple
Wow.
times in the thing. Yeah,
But
mean,
I thought it was funny.
But
well, I
it's
thought it was funny too.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he still did, right? So, you know, I think it's you should respond to that, right? And you should put that out there and say, well, here's a guy like a Phil Galfond who is trying to do something pretty great for poker, put on this great event, started a fucking poker site, and you know, I feel like we should support it, but at the same time, if people want to say adverse things about it to generate their own hype, and that's who the characters are, I think that's cool too, man. So does it need more? I'm sure people enjoy it, but then they start fucking crying so much whenever someone does say something like that. They say, oh, you're this, that, offended, and they run them out of town because, you know, like a Doug Polk or something like that, because they want drama, but they want it from the right person, and they want them to say it the right way, and they want it to be about the right person that they don't like. But poker's such a tight-knit community that everyone's friends with everybody else. So if you start talking shit about one person, well, then their person got their 4 friends, and then they're against you, and then there's these things that go on for years. And that's what we have now, is people are against each other for years because of jokes or things that people have made. So do we need more? Maybe, right? But
So what do you think about what Doug did with Daniel years ago?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, sort of started that little beef. I mean, I guess you were a part
Sure.
of that too with the rake comments.
I mean,
and
I
whatnot.
wasn't a part of the beef, right? The beef they have, I'm not trying to, you know, fight them at a fucking hockey game. Like, these
Right.
two are getting in it. They're calling each other names and stuff like that. I have no issue with that. I got no issue with a guy on a, you know, Daniel, I like talking to him. I like
Yeah.
being around him. I like hanging out with the guy, right? In
Yeah.
terms of what happened with the Poker Star stuff, you know, I think that's in the past. That is what it is. At
Time
the
to let
time,
it go.
Right. I mean, I think we're upset about it, but what are you going to do about it? You're going to keep crying about it for the rest of our lives? Like, not really. You know, you got to get over it at some point in time.
Yeah.
So I think Daniel's one of the most incredible poker ambassadors we
Who's
have
done
in the
more for
game.
poker than Daniel?
I mean, he's certainly done
Nobody.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay,
All of a sudden
well,
he's a villain?
well, I understand why he's a villain, right? And
For a
I understand
moment,
that
maybe,
that's Doug's strategy he used in that
Yeah.
current moment in time, and that's how he got so big, and that's one of the ways, and amongst a larger strategy. So, but I think people really enjoy that kind of stuff, and but when you're on the inside, it's not that enjoyable.
So is all this sort of, I don't know, starting stuff on Twitter the way for Luke Schwartz to stay in people's minds and to stay relevant? Because
course.
Luke Schwartz, you know, he won a bracelet. Of course, he's done some things in poker,
Right.
but at the same time, you know, aside from him being mad at someone or calling people out, you know, we don't really see much from him.
Right. Well, I don't think you see much from anyone unless they choose to put themselves out there and publicly. So unless they're making vlogs or doing streams or making content or they're tweeting a lot or they're Instagramming a lot, you don't really see much from anybody these days because there really is there's not a mass production that all the poker audience gets to see and consume unless it's created by a certain number of people. So if you're a guy like Luke Schwartz, you don't really have a chance to get yourself out there unless you can sort of take a moment like this and give your input on there and kind of do that. So, I mean, it's smart by him to to do that as well too, because I think that's
it's actually
right.
masterful. He took shots. Every single one of his tweets or his comments begins with Sulfur Y. So there's a shot at Sulfur Y, right?
No.
Does he love Sulfur Y?
I think Matt Berkey and the Sulfur Y's crew's paying Luke Schwartz to do that.
There it is. That's actually sharp.
This is some like sick collaboration Euro.
Next level marketing.
You don't see Berkey and Luke Schwartz sitting down at a table and having a nice conversation, but I think that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing Luke Schwartz and we're seeing Berkey. They're like a meeting of the minds here. I feel like that's what's going on with these two.
Sick collab with those
man.
guys. The Galfond challenge.
Why
though.
do you think poker needs more drama? Right? I mean, you're talking about it's so fucking boring that wouldn't it be nice if there'd be something where someone could take a side and they could be interested in it? That's sort of what you're saying, right?
Well, I'm not sure if I even enjoy like the drama aspect, but it gets views, so people seem to really enjoy it. It's like what I like doesn't necessarily, that's not the opinion of all the poker fans. And obviously, that if you have Doug Polk on the show to talk about some hot drama, or if you have Luke Schwartz on the show to talk about who he wants to call pigeon next, that's going to get views, that's going to get clicks.
Well,
so from that perspective, it's going to drive interest.
That's because you're either talking about something like that, or you're talking to in a podcast with someone who might not have done much in poker at any time recently that the public knows about, right? So it's like there's only a few people that people are really going to pay attention to anymore in this day and age. So, right, of course they want to hear about things like that. Of course they want to hear me and Doug talk. Doug already has a big audience. We have a good rapport. Of course they want to hear us kind of talk because we've done a lot of podcasts and people seem to enjoy them. So, of course, with Luke, right, when he makes a comment like that, people want to hear more from him as well, too. So it's like a weird time in the poker world right now.
You mentioned something about a boxing match. Were Doug and Luke supposed to box? Were they going to fight?
I don't know. I think they talked about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Can we make that happen? I mean, you're like the number one hype man. You're a promoter.
I don't think so.
Can we make a fight happen this summer?
I don't think
then
that's
the
going to happen.
loser-
I don't think Doug wants anything to do with
I had
Luke
this all
Schwartz,
figured
man.
out, though, Joey.
I don't think Doug wants
The
anything to do
loser has
with
to
Luke
wear the
Schwartz.
little pigeon hat, what they found on the pigeon. You have to wear that hat all year long.
I think Doug would prefer to never be in a room with Luke Schwartz as long as he lives again. Right?
It's a shame,
I mean,
really.
If it was up to you, Joey, and you got to decide what got the most views, what content would you enjoy making the most? Because we know
I like talking about the positive things that are going on, man.
Well,
I like talking about celebrating the events that are going down.
Tell me
I like
about your
talking about
passion.
what's going on good in poker, people that are winning money, the best players, the top players, the Garrett Adelsteins of the world, the Jason Koons of the world.
Yeah.
Right? I prefer to talk about those, but it's like, what are we really going to say about them, right?
Right.
I listened to Jay Koon on your guys' podcast last week, and as he said, right, he's not really doing much stuff. He's not doing much media. He's playing a lot of private games. He's working on his game a lot. He's taking a lot of time off. He's resting up for those spurts of energy that he puts out there. So it's like the top players, they're nowhere to be found in some ways on a public level. So it's like, what else are you going to talk about? And that's sort of what we've seen in poker is that there really isn't much to talk about because where are these guys playing? They play Triton, they play here, but it's so spread out that not all the community really gets to watch it. So these people know about this, they know about that. There's not really an organization in terms of seeing the top players and emphasis on the top players. And it doesn't even seem like people care about who wins anymore and who loses anymore. So they care about the vloggers, they care about the streamers because they're consistently putting out content and building habits where people are going to watch that. So that's where a lot of the attention is. It's not necessarily who's winning and losing because they don't know who's winning and losing, and they don't have any reason to care about those people.
Right. And then the Galfond challenge pops up out of nowhere.
Right.
Given the climate of poker, that is a really crazy thing to happen, that Galfond is just like, I'm going to put everything out there. I'm going to play all these people. I'm going to give everyone odds. I'm going to put a huge prop bets on it. Very, uncharacteristics of the times, I would say, for poker. And then he loses basically $1 million straight to VeniVidi. Mm-hmm. How have you consumed this challenge up until this point as a PLO player and a Galfond fan?
Right. I mean, I've just tried to watch some of the streams. The long streams are 4-hour streams, so I've watched a bunch of them because I've been making the recap videos and I've been trying to keep up with it as well too, and start studying a lot more PLO because I've definitely been studying a lot more other things over these past couple of years. Not necessarily as much poker anymore. So start studying a lot more poker, a lot more Hold'em. I'm amazed at how easy it is to learn Hold'em these days because the teachings are so good and the answers to like poker questions that you're going to have in some spots are like right there. So it's kind of incredible the knowledge that's out there these days in terms of learning Hold'em. But in terms of watching the challenge, just watching the streams, kind of talking with Phil, seeing how things are going with him. But I mean, what can you really do? How else are you going to watch it? So you can.
Do you know who he is in real life? This VeniVidi guy?
No, I've spoken to him, but I don't know who he is in real life.
What did his voice sound like?
No, I've texted with him. Sorry.
Just text.
So far, yeah. I think we're gonna do some content together. I'm not sure what exactly we're gonna do, but I know it's not gonna be a podcast where he reveals who he is.
He won't out himself. How long did Isildur do
for
that?
a number of different reasons, yeah.
Before everyone knew it was Victor Blum. Do you know how long that lasted?
Probably about
A year?
I mean, it depends who you're asking, right? The general
Yeah.
poker fans, that took until the PCA when they did the big reveal when he joined PokerStars. But before that, I'm sure the people on the inside already knew.
People on the inside know all the time, yeah.
He was playing on Prima Poker and like all these European sites for a long time before playing on Full Tilt for high stakes. So I think Isildur sort of was known in the world, but then not really to the fans.
Got it. Shout out, by the way, everyone in the chat. I'm seeing David Stewart out there, Kushal Pandey. These guys must be all your friends, Joey, because I've never seen Jonah. We know Jonah. Jonah's in the chat.
Guys out there, yeah.
Ferlin in the chat. All you guys that are out there. Moonlight Master. I don't know why the sad face.
Shout out my man Moonlight
What's
Master.
going on? Sad face. Why so sad? Turn that frown upside
Moonlight
down.
Master's been putting up some great highlights for the Galfond Challenge each day on his YouTube channel. Young kid out there. Spoke to him on the phone a little bit. Kind of figured out where he's coming from, why he's uploading these challenges every day. So I think guys like that step up and they summarize the challenge for people that don't want to spend 4 hours to watch it. So guys
I
like
can't
that,
do it. I had to watch your stuff.
Right, exactly. I think that's how it is, right? You can either watch the stream, you can watch a highlight, you can watch a condensed version, or you can watch something on social media.
Yeah.
So you can consume it in a number of different ways. But I think
Wonky McKnuckles. What's up, guys? That's a great name.
it's Donkey McKnuckles.
Wonky. Yeah, Wonky.
I believe. Okay. Your kind of name, right?
I mean, yeah.
That's right up your alley.
Kevin Mathers. You ever heard of him?
I heard of Kevin Math.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin Math. Always doing good work.
Let's stay on the challenge here with Galfond.
Sure.
He gave VeniVidi odds before the challenge started, knowing what you know about Phil and VeniVidi as far as PLO levels of skill.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think this matchup was as far as the odds? Like, what if you were to put the number on it? Did you think that VeniVidi had a big edge? Did you think Phil was the favorite? How did you look at it?
Well, I think going into it, Phil talked about he was studying a little bit more maybe than he actually did, and either way, I think it was going to be an uphill battle because you're a guy, Phil Galfond, who's been working on his training site, who's been working on his poker site, who's been working on his marriage, working on his family for the past couple of years, randomly taking trips to play in Canada occasionally, right? And then a guy's playing in Bobby's room, he's playing mixed games, he's playing some tournaments, he's playing all these different formats, and his interest and his energy is spread out so much. And I think Jason Kuhn summed it up nicely on your guys' podcast last week at about the 9-minute and 30-second mark when he said that, you know, if you put this guy in and you start him studying, you limit the distractions and you have him just focusing on getting better at the game of PLO, I think we're going to see a much different match. But if you take a guy who's rusty, who hasn't been playing that much, who hasn't been working on his game as hard as another guy who's been locked away in the European dungeon chain with his right hand handcuffed to the seat, running solves in some sort of master program, well, of course you're going to be at a disadvantage against that guy. So I don't think it's a surprise to see this sort of thing happen. Of course, in the moment you say, well, it's probably, you know, hopefully it'll be a better fight than what we saw, right? You didn't expect that to happen. But to come out and say, like, this guy's washed up because he lost to one of the top Portland Omaha players, been working at his game, I think it's fucking ridiculous, right? It's one of the most ridiculous things of all time, and it shows that what you know about poker and the way that you see things isn't very intelligent, because you'd understand that, well, we got to see this guy play more. Let's see the guy get back in rhythm. Let's see him play some other players. But losing to one of the top guys, I don't think that really tells us anything right now. So
right. I do have a question that I don't know the answer to clearly. Can Galfond move on to another challenge, or does he have to finish this one first?
No, he can move on. He's got to pay the side bet $200K. So he pays that, and then he can move on, yeah.
Okay, so maybe he'll jump into, what's the next match? Bill Perkins?
Yeah,
you got Perky?
Bill Perkins in the Thirst Lounge, man.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing on the boat. Little high stakes.
Like their heads up on the boat? Is that real?
I mean, listen, you see Perkins, what he's doing? He's like, I mean, he's always on like a blue water beach. There's about eight ladies surrounding him right now.
I don't want to say much about it, but we do have Perkins coming to the studio next week. He's going to be on Poker Go.
Oh, is he?
And Poker After Dark. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about
Okay, he might
Perkins,
bring those 8 beautiful ladies. I mean, he always travel. I don't think he's allowed to travel without less than 6 or 8 beautiful ladies. I mean,
God
I don't
bless
think
him.
It's like a prerequisite.
Perfect.
Anytime he goes any place.
Yeah.
So shout out to Perkins, man. He's always.
From what you've seen from Galfond, though, and I find it so fascinating because you know PLO so well. How would you stack up against Phil Galfond at the start of the challenge? I'm sure he's working off the rust.
I haven't played much heads up. A lot of my game has been really focused in my studies. Always focused on 6 max and shorthanded. I've really never been a heads up specific player. I like to play a lot of heads up to start tables because you usually play against weaker players and then they get bum hunted and then fun players join. So usually you have the best chance to start a really good table if you're starting games. So I've started games all my life, but I've never really focused on studying Portland Omaha specifically. And also, when I was studying a lot and every day, a lot of the strategy is starting to change. So now that I'm getting back into it and kind of understanding different spots play differently, and there's different strategies and different board textures. So I can't really say that I'm up to date in terms of where the current strategy and current meta is in terms of heads up Portland Omaha. So, it's hard to say really in terms of what's happening and what's not. Even if you take a look at what people are saying out there, everyone's got an opinion, but they're only watching a small sample size. So unless you're really locked in watching everything, and the strategies evolve so quickly that what might have been one time and once Phil adjusts or Veni adjust. So I think it's hard to tell from the outside without really knowing what the cards are.
I mean, you're a big-time challenge guy. You love putting a challenge out there.
I've done a lot of challenges in my time. Yes, I have. I've been successful in most of them.
Are your challenges behind you, or do you have more in the future?
Well, I think I'm just really focused on studying and learning things right now. Less focused on pushing myself to the brink of doing some extreme challenge where I'm sleeping unhealthily and my thoughts are consumed 24/7 about what I'm doing. So I think a lot of challenges I've done in the past in terms of volume or in terms of any prop bets that I had have taken up my entire life. And right now I'm a little bit more balanced out with my life. Focused
I'll tell you what.
Other things that aren't.
We have challenges for you.
What do you got?
Remko, please.
Yeah, I do.
Please.
I mean, I got to know you.
I think you can pull this off.
Yeah, I think so too. I got to know you as the guy playing a million tables at once, playing, what was it, 30,000 hands in a day?
50,000 hands in a day.
50,000 hands in a day.
Jesus Christ.
Getting Supernova Elite in like the last month of the year. Like
450,000 hands in that month of PLO, yeah. Most hands of PLO in a day in a month. Most hands no one hold them in a day in a month, debatably. According to, if these people count these turbo sit-and-goes, hyper sit-and-go players, I don't count that kind of format for me personally.
Cash only?
I count cash only. Straight cash, yeah, man. I was challenging bots. I was challenging anybody back then, man. I'll play any of the bots. I mean, I think if people see the kind of energy and work ethic I bring to what I do when I'm on, like, it makes sense, right? Because I was a psychopath back then. It still comes out now, but there's just not as much to be excited about now as it was back then for myself.
Okay, Remko, hit him with the 2.
What do you got?
What's your longest ever live poker session? Let's start with that.
I don't know. I've never really like maybe 20 hours.
20 hours?
I don't know.
I mean, to get into the Guinness World Record book,
right?
120 hours and 20 minutes.
Why would everyone do that though?
Guinness World Records.
We need you there.
Get in the book.
Yeah.
We need your name in the book. No, pass.
Terrible.
Hard
You can't
pass.
do that? What about
I'm
it?
sure
There's
I
a new
could.
poker room,
Sounds
Sahara.
terrible,
I mean, you could set the record right there.
That sounds terrible.
No?
To be honest with you guys, I think that actually closes at 3 a.m. too, so I can't set the
It
record
closes?
there. Yeah, I believe so.
No shit.
But they'll stay open if you ask, if you're playing and you want to
Setting
stay
records, they're going to keep it open. Remko, give him another one that he can do.
Well, the most casinos visited in 24 hours.
It's actually not a bad idea now that I think more about it. Because what you
Thank
could
you.
what
Here we
you
go.
would have is
Here we
wait
go.
a second. Let me
Okay.
think more about this, right? Okay.
We're having a moment.
Let's
There's some
brainstorm this,
supplements
right?
you could use.
There's
It's kinda
100%
fun.
would be supplements involved, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
of
How
course,
else are you
yeah.
going to stay awake?
Yeah.
For
I might
fucking-
watch you for 120 hours.
But what you have is you tell people to come join you, like cheer you on.
Yeah.
You pay people to be there some days, and they're cheering you on. Everyone else starts coming in. Everyone's hyped up on social media. You got 25,000
something.
people watching a Periscope live stream from the rail. Everyone's fired up. I could see it happening. I like where you guys are coming from.
Can you
Okay.
please give it a little bit more thought? Because I honestly think there's only one. We thought about it. Right? This is actually Remko's maybe your best idea in years.
Oh, really?
Years.
Wow.
But you're the only guy that could potentially get out there in the streets. You're so well represented on YouTube, social media, and across the board. You should do this the right way.
Is there a right way to really do this? I mean,
Well,
how many
I mean-
days are we talking? 7 days in a row, 8 days in a row. I'll be walking out there like they'll be carrying me out of there, man. Like David
I
Blaine
will
when he was
carry you.
in
I will.
that thing of water for like
Yes.
25 years or something. They'd be carrying me out. I'm struggling. They got guys picking me up. Brent's coming in there.
I will.
You know what I mean? I don't. Whatever.
think
Okay,
you can
I
do
got
it.
another one which is much more feasible.
Okay.
The record for most casinos visited in 24 hours is 69. I want to get a little twist to this. Most casinos played poker in 24 hours.
Okay.
1 orbit minimum.
Okay.
Joey Ingram, live on Twitch, following you around with the cameras. The real life stuff on Twitch is really popular nowadays.
That's true.
Playing 1 orbit at every casino for as many casinos as possible in
And
24 hours.
I will drive the RV to take you whenever we have to leave Las Vegas.
Because
I like that idea actually. That one sounds a little more fun.
So
Where
you-
would you start in this hypothetical scenario? It has to be in Vegas, right?
Well, I think you'd have to start some like geographically. We have to map this out. So maybe Green Valley Ranch, make your way towards the Strip, end at Red Rock. Then you get in the truck with Brent. You drive across the state border, go to L.A., hit up those casinos. I think you can hit 40 poker
Or
rooms
do you
in
start in
24
LA,
hours.
hit those up, and then make your way to Vegas?
Oh, that's
right?
possible
and then finish
too.
it off in Las Vegas.
Right.
Great question. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Start in Sacramento. Maybe say hi to Apostle on your way down.
You think we should start at Stones Live?
I mean, it's probably a good spot to
Not a
start.
bad idea. They'd love them.
Are they still operating? Are they still?
don't know.
I'm sure business is booming up there.
booming,
Any
right?
business is good business,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Maybe the best thing that's ever happened in that room.
Shout out Stones Live. It might have been.
Shout
I
out.
don't know, man. I'm
So
sure they're-
people in the chat, let us know how many poker rooms do you think Joey can play poker in 24 hours? I think the number has to be close to 40. At least 1 orbit. go from casino to
That
casino.
would be epic. I mean, that sounds pretty sick.
I think that's a great idea. We have 2 more. These are online poker related. I know online poker is no longer your bread and butter. I know you're no longer.
Oh, there's more challenges. I didn't know about these.
I know you're not a psycho like you used to be, as you said. But Elke has the record for most tables played simultaneously.
Right.
With 62.
Well, you can't. You can never play more than 24 PLO. I would have played more than 24 Hold'em or cash. They only let you
Right.
play 24 cash at once, so I would have happily played more than 24 Nolan and Hold'em when I was playing that. But I don't think I could even play. Right, those are more tournament. He was playing a lot of tournaments back then, so I'm not even sure if that's possible anymore to be able to play 60 or whatever that was.
How many do you think you can play and still turn a profit if PLO had unlimited tables?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Because
It's a good
it
question.
probably goes down quite steeply, your win rate.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, at Hold'em back in the day, you could do it pretty easily. You could 24 table and win. PLO, not as easily unless you were really game selected. And there's months where I've been able to do it, but it's certainly not something you want. I mean, it's just stupid to do it now that I think about it more of. So I would never do it in retrospect. Once I stopped 24 tabling, I started 4 tabling, I started crushing. So it was probably stupid for me to be 24 tabling so long. And that was why when I think back, like, I would do these epic sessions and then people like, I mean, people see the comments now and the way people look at me now and the perception now is much different than it was back then because I was respected a lot for my grind and I was part of the community on 2+2, but there were a lot of fucking haters who were like, you can't win unless you get Supernova Elite and you can't win unless you get Rake back. And I'm like, you guys are the dumbest fucking people I've ever seen because if I can break even and slightly win 24 tabling and play this many hands in a month, of course I can 4 table and win. Like, what do you, anyone that thinks that is just dumb because the strategy you use is so different. And it turns out I was exactly right when I started 4 tabling, 3 tabling, I started crushing. And ever since then, I've been winning at the game, winning at the tables, right? So it's like, yeah, right? It just makes sense. But at the time, it was so different.
Yeah.
But really, when you're 3, 4 tabling, and if you know how to game select, and you know how to seat select, you know how to take advantage of regulars who might be taking advantage of you and the fun players, and if you study the fun players' games, I mean, it's pretty easy to win at poker. So if you know how to play,
It's still easy to win at poker. That's a big statement.
100%. Yeah, I mean, if you know how to game select, it's very easy to win. Yes, 100%.
A substantial amount of money?
For sure, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you really can understand and be disciplined in terms of when to leave a table, when to identify when a fun player's on, when to identify when they're off, when to identify when certain regulars behind you are able to take advantage of you much better than others.
So is that, I mean, are you suggesting that you actually have to be good at bum hunting?
I think
Game selecting, bum hunting?
a large majority of people, yes, right? The best players, they can do it without it because they know how to beat the bum hunters. So what I used to always do is I used to always work at beating the bum hunters as well as beating the fun players. So I would really study the fun players' games, study the bum hunters' games, and okay, this is how to take advantage of them. This is how they might be taking advantage of the fun players as well too. So you're basically able to win from the weaker regulars and also able to win from the fun players. But then the other tougher regulars, you know, you guys have your own dynamic, and there's certain ones you play better against than others, and certain ones are 3-betting you and 4-betting you more when you're isolating against those guys too. So there's all these other dynamics that come into play when you're in the moment in that situation.
So everyone could make money in poker unless you're considered one of the fun players. Then you're just fucked.
Unless you play with other fun players. Yeah,
So
exactly. Just
so
like
that
weaker players,
sort of
right?
explains why maybe the evolution as to why all these private games have popped up.
100%. They're only going to get more and more
Right.
private, right? Why do you want to play with some guy who all he does is play poker and that's literally all he does and he doesn't speak, he brings nothing else to the table.
Yeah.
And when your options are you can play with other people who want to have a good time and professionals who want to have a good time.
Right.
So as those become more of the status quo, you're only going to see more and more. And then as one of those regulars, you have to then decide, do I want to drop down stakes? Do I want to change my networking, whatever. People they're like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to people because I don't want to, exploit them or take advantage of them or something like that, right? Well, then you're not going to fucking play. So you want to quit? That's fine. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But that's where the evolution's going, and it makes sense because these players are so unpleasant to play against oftentimes in some of these recreational players' minds, or it's just the hosts are marketing their games and saying, you don't want to play with that guy. So the hosts have all this power, and apparently the hosts in the casinos, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that shit.
Also a self-realization when you sort of fast forward to where we are now, whereas 10 years ago, you might not have realized, oh, wow, I really suck at this game. Now, you've caught up, you've lost for a decade straight, you realize that you are not a good player, and you have that sort of self-realization moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That has changed dramatically because so many players like yourselves, not so much me, certainly not you, Remko, but so many people are good at poker.
Mm-hmm.
You go into a poker room, and games are just not that easy.
Right.
So you're just going to get murdered.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? I mean, doesn't that just sort of make sense?
I mean, you play the games around here, they're very soft, right?
I
mean,
saw this.
yeah.
Okay, yes. So maybe,
but I'm saying
maybe drop down
why
stakes.
the games are soft here in terms of the smaller stakes is just because there aren't many. The people who are professionals at a 2-5, for the most part, aren't really working at their game very often. So while you might go there and be like, yeah, they're tight, but if you're a good player, then you're not going to go there and be like, oh, these guys are good. You're going to be like, oh, these guys are kind of suck. They're just doing the same thing for the past 4 years. So I think there's plenty of action. I mean, Vegas is popping, man. Live poker's popping. The tournaments are popping. Live poker is booming, right? Online poker, it's certain sites are booming.
On its way, maybe.
I mean, maybe, right?
Maybe,
I think it goes more to a private game ecosystem, more like what the app sites have.
Is there a PLO private game atmosphere, and are you at the head of the food chain as far as people that want to have you in the game? Like,
I could 100% have my own game. I could be playing whatever stakes. I could either sell action or get staked for whatever stakes I want to play. It would take less than 4 minutes, right? Send 5 texts, any action I want to get booked in anything will be able to get booked most of the time.
Right.
But I think for me, not really interested in doing that right now. I'm more interested in learning about business, learning about marketing, learning about how the world works, learning about how to treat myself as a man, kind of thing like that, versus someone who's unorganized and someone who doesn't know how to really handle themselves in their own life, and someone who's just a degenerate, who's completely disorganized and just doing this one day, doing that the other day without any sort of rhyme or reason in terms of what I'm doing in life. So
Are you done playing poker?
Not at all. No.
Oh.
I'm definitely I love poker way too much. I love getting better at the game. I love studying the game. But I think my priorities in terms of what my goals are much more on the business side of things and much more in just helping people out. And I don't think I really achieve that necessarily by sitting at the poker table for right now, but I'm definitely going to come back.
So zero regrets thus far along with your path, right? Do you wish you had finished college or
no? I wish I
didn't.
I wish I didn't lose my mind and lose most of my money when I finally had a lot of success. I wish I didn't do that. In retrospect,
These
I wouldn't
things
have done
happen.
that. I wouldn't have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would have kept that and then gone to do this. So that's certainly a huge regret I have. Yeah,
but you can rebuild now, right? Like with all the access you have to games.
I mean, making money is not hard, right? In terms of if your goal is to make money, right? It's fairly simple. You go research, how do people make money, right? Well, they have a product, they have a service, they advertise, they do something, right? So if you want to play poker, how do you make money? You play against weaker players.
Yeah,
it's not rocket science.
Right.
You study your game, work at your game, you play poker, you play against weaker players. It's a very straightforward process in terms of how to make money. That's at poker. And then on the business side of things, if you have a big audience and if you have a lot of knowledge, so what I'm trying to do is set myself up for the rest of my life in terms of learning about all these things. So now when I meet with companies and I meet with people that are inside of poker and outside of poker, I'm able to present more knowledge and understand more about what they're trying to do with their business and their operation. And then they say, okay, we'd like to work with you. So I want to be in a position where I'm able to make this money and support myself and support people that are around me.
You're going to have to
forever.
change your Twitter handle, Joey Ingram LLC.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm never going to go like super like that, but you got to take it serious if you want to make money.
Yeah, no
You can't
doubt.
just be fucking around and saying, all right, well, like I've been doing, so I'm just doing this, doing that, going out for 2 weeks in a row, getting out of line for a month, right? It's just, that's not a recipe for success. So I think I've definitely seen that firsthand in Vegas for over this past 2.5 years, man.
As the marketing guru, genius, businessman Joey Ingram, let me.
No, I'm terrible at business.
I mean, I'm
But
just
you're
gonna
learning to be good.
You're
at
learning.
it.
Okay.
You're,
I don't think
I
it's
think I
hard,
know-
but I'm
Okay.
terrible at it.
I think I know where you're going.
But
there.
I want to propose this to you, and
Okay.
I want to give you the reins on this idea.
Sure.
Poker is gonna have an all-star game.
Right.
How are we gonna do that? What's it gonna look like? What are you gonna do with
I think
it?
I actually wrote this down in my notebook. I've been decoding every other sport, every other show. I'm just like decoding these things and recreating them to figure out how I would do them. I think basically what an all-star event is, it puts together the top players and puts them together in sort of an exhibition style format where the community comes together. There's a special presentation, there's a special celebration. So I think that's what you would do, right? You'd find these top players, you'd show that it's a special event by the presentation you put on. You'd get the community to support the event as well too. I think a lot of times in the events that take place in the community aren't very supported by everyone. So it's like you have one person tweeting about it or one person watching it. Whereas you need to bring all the vloggers together, the streamers together, the sponsored players together, the media together, and say, okay, let's all support this all-star event, right? We bring out the top
is
players.
this like a charity event or something?
I don't think so, man. It
or-
could just be a game of poker, right? It doesn't need to be
Right.
the highest stakes. It could just be something where you got these guys that you know, that you enjoy, that you want to see play, and you put them together and they play.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
it needs to be anything where, right, it could be some special things, right? What are we going to do, like a Pio? Whoever gets the closest
I don't know.
answer to Pio
I'm
on
trying to figure
E7
out how
deuce
to-
with the 2 spades, whoever gets the right frequencies down here, you're going to advance to the next
skills
round.
challenge.
Like, I mean, the
There's
skills
the skills
challenge, right? I
challenge,
mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
What's the dunk contest in poker? How can we dunk on people?
I don't know.
Is that just like a roast? Like
How about you play against someone who has access to the whole cards and you got to try to beat him? I think that'd be a fun challenge, right? You have a guy who can know what the cards are and you got to see if you can overcome this guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Annette Oberstadt putting the Post-it on your cards and playing blind?
That's playing blind. This is where the guy just knows.
Right.
He knows what you might know. He just knows what the cards are. Whether he looks at a hand like this, I don't know what the fuck this is, but yeah, I thought about that. I don't really know what it would be, but I think that the poker community needs to bring the poker players together for more events, right? Whether they're just for fun, for whatever. It's like we used to do that with the party poker, like the Premier Leagues and the Poker Superstars, where Gus Hansen shoving all in blind every single time. You used to see more of these moments where these players would all come together that and that you can watch and enjoy, and the casual fan can watch and enjoy, and we don't really get that much anymore. So it would be nice if we said, hey, we're going to bring these together. We're going to let you know about it 2 months ahead of time, and we're going to build it up for a couple months. And that way, when it comes, people are excited about it. But there's no real build up to anything that happens in poker anymore, just because nobody really does it.
Well, it's also very segregated in a way.
It's hugely segregated.
The high rollers, if you want to watch those, you know where to find them. U.S. Poker Open, Poker Masters, those guys all come together.
Right.
But the vloggers live in their own world, and then you and your content.
There are so many factions of poker communities now spread out. Where
Nothing
we
is
don't
connected
all just
anymore.
live in one world. Like we don't look forward to that. The Heads Up Challenge every year anymore.
Right.
I guess we sort of still have the main event. We still have the World Series of Poker main event.
The one uniting event.
We know the one giant thing is coming every year where everyone seems to be
Galfond Challenge will do that now. It's already doing that now. It's just a matter of time.
I think time,
100% going to happen, right? I'm going to be posting about it nonstop. It's going to happen. So everyone's going to start. I'm already here when I talk to people. They're, what's up with that Galfond Challenge? That's how it starts, is that you repetitively put the message out there. You put it out there, you put it out there, you put it out there. And if it's a high-quality product and something that people will enjoy with people that they know, they're going to be interested in it. So it's only a matter of time before that Galfond Challenge is on everyone's mind. Everyone's talking about it. So I think that'll happen. World Series Poker main event, of course. Yeah, that brings everyone together. And people are watching on Twitter. Bill Simmons is watching it on Twitter. He's commenting on how
Rich
cool it looks.
Eisen. I mean, everyone's...
Right. So
yeah.
Here's the takeaway, right? It's like, okay, we know the format, right? Big event, potential money on a channel where people can see it, right? Well, then you got to figure out, okay, how can we replicate that?
And
apparently people, from the outside, you think it's impossible. I don't think it's possible. I think it can be done.
I think what also needs to be pointed out is tradition. I mean, how long has they just had their 50th?
Yeah.
Last year was their 50th World Series of Poker,
yeah.
right? I mean, that's 50 fucking years, man.
Sure.
Like that, it doesn't take. It's not overnight where you just create something. And I think
disagree.
we're learning that with.
Disagree.
Well, maybe in today's day and age, you
100%.
can create something overnight, but it's going to be hard to garner that sort of legacy.
Well,
right?
how you can only garner legacy with time. So, of course, it'll be hard to garner legacy for anything. But if you look at other industries, it's not true because they're able to. Fortnite created a game and then created an event right away. And already it's already like that. So it can be possible.
There's a Fortnite event?
There's plenty of Fortnite events.
Yeah.
There's the World Cup. They have the championships. They have the Pro-Am. They have the online tournaments. They have all these different things where they put them all together. So if you study other industry and other esports out there,
parallels.
right, you'll see they're able to create this instantly because they already have the format down for how to put these things together.
Right.
And they already have really smart people who have history doing this in other industries, and they do it there. So it can definitely be done. It's just that we haven't really seen. Super High Rollable used to be an event, right? But now it's not an event anymore because there's more of them. So before it was like exclusive. These certain people played. People watched the drawing. They tuned in. Whole community talked about it. Schulman's doing commentary. But now there's so many spread out that it's sort of lost that luster. And the way it's marketed has also changed. And the way the exclusivity also changed as well, too. So while people that could have played in that didn't like it necessarily, plenty of people loved it because they're like, yeah, this guy gets shut out. That's cool. It kind of makes for a little story. So I think what happened was it was really cool when it first went, but now there's a lot more of them. So I don't know if people are necessarily paying.
You think
as close
the international
attention to them.
ones have sort of?
I'm not sure. I really haven't watched them, so I don't know. I loved that Super High Roll, but I loved the idea.
Well, the good news is that one is back in May.
Good.
We haven't released final details yet, but for sure coming in May. The OG Super High Roller Bowl, if you will.
We need it. We need it, man. I mean, I think you like you just got to study what these other industries do for marketing, right? It's like they build a story behind an event. They tell you who the players are. They tell you why you should care about the players. They tell you what the players have been up to.
Yeah.
Whereas in poker, we don't, it's like a guy shows up for Poker After Dark and we didn't know where the fuck he's been for the past 3 years, and we still don't know where he's at for the past 3 years after you watch the show.
You to know where he's been for the last.
Well, and he
3 years.
can't play, right?
That's
I mean,
what
get out of the show. What are you talking? Get out of the show, right? It's like, what the fuck, man? You want to be on the show? At least tell me where you've been, right? Give me some information about your stories so we can keep people out there. So if you're worried about that side of things, which is what I think about a lot, but not all players think about that, and they just want to go there and play, and they want to be on their iPad with their headphones, and they want to make a living, and luckily poker allows you to do that because that's the structure in place. So not everyone needs to care about this stuff, and they certainly don't care about this stuff, but you need one cycle person at least care about this stuff, and that's where I come in. I care about it.
And talking about people who care about the game, you've been tweeting about Rob Yong and Phil Nagy. Rob Yong standing up to his knees in water, still caring more about party poker than his own house.
Right.
Phil Nagy, you were saying you admire the passion, but there's maybe
He needs a lot of help.
maybe a lot of things wrong there.
A lot of things wrong. Yeah.
These two guys are probably on opposite sides of the spectrum in some ways, but they're also equally passionate about the game and
So much passion these days.
these days.
Fedor V's got so much passion. Yeah.
How do you follow
So much passion.
How do you follow like guys like Rob Yong and Nagy in that sense?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean with how they try to work really hard at something, they stumble and fall. They try different things. Obviously, they're not the same person, but you mention them all the time on Twitter. So, do you admire what they do? Do you have a lot of criticisms for what they do? How do you?
I think that Rob Yong is one of the smarter people that I've met in terms of in the poker world, and just in terms of the conversations I've had with him privately. I think the way he thinks about things, I can understand why he's had so much success at business, and by far one of the most creative sort of thinkers about different ideas and able to pick up thoughts and able to pick up new things about new industries and new platforms at a quicker pace than anyone I've talked to in poker. So I think that he's probably spread himself out real wide in terms of having to worry about all these different things. And it's a new industry in terms of online poker and advertising and marketing with the online world that it just takes time to learn. So I think over time you'll see him get better and better, but I just imagine he's probably spread out really wide in terms of knowing what to do and where to put the focus on. Phil Nagy, I mean, listen, the guy's clearly good at something, right? What's he good at? He's probably good at marketing. He's good at paying people out, allegedly. He's good at, kind of getting these tournaments and these structures out there. But it's clear that the guy has no fucking idea what he's doing when it comes to developing software, when it comes to security, when it comes to putting a stop to any out-of-line activity. And when it comes to you're really like the customer service, I'm hearing all these terrible things from people out there. I'm getting reports all the time. I don't know if the rakeback's been paid out for a long time. So it's clear the guy wants to do everything himself, and he doesn't know how to bring the right people in to help him. And he doesn't know where those people are. He doesn't know how to find them. He talked about that in the podcast we did. He doesn't know where these security people are. How do I get them? Where are they at? So I think it's clear that while he cares and he has passion, there's probably some fucked up shit happening on America's Card Room if you had to bet on it, right? But do we know what's happening? No. But, I mean, you listen to the guy talk, you watch him talk on a video, you watch him stream,
What is stopping the
the
Department of Justice from just shutting them down?
I don't know. You know better than me. I don't know. I don't care.
I'm
not trying to get him shut down, right? I mean, it's like it is what it is. It's kind of a good in a way.
Curious.
It's actually not. I mean, there are it could be done better, but at the same time, it's given a lot of poker players in America and Australia a
Prize
chance
pools
to
are amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So while the PLO cash games might be a place where only the elite of the elite are able to make money and the people who have the best strategy are able to make money. I mean, listen, there's still guys winning money on there, right? So they're still giving these ambassadors a way to make a living, who then they prop the site up and make the site seem reputable. When, I mean, it's like a very simple approach to marketing your product that other sites don't necessarily do anymore, right? Like hire ambassadors, hire the stormtroopers, hire these people,
stormtroopers,
right? Like
Jesus Christ,
these guys that are known from ACR, they weren't known before, so they help them out with content.
You know
they
what
give
I
them
just
these
realized
trips,
about ACR? These guys. You remember Rob Kino played on Poker After Dark, called himself Kino, but his real name was actually not that. You don't remember this guy, Kino?
No.
Well, anyway, it was just pointed out to me yesterday that he is one of the, I guess, stormtroopers. He's one of their ambassadors.
Oh, really?
I had no idea what happened to him. And all of a sudden he shows up. He's this ACR guy. Yeah.
Now we know.
Well, what I'm always so confused about is how the complaining and the playing go hand in hand on these sites. Like, people refuse to not play there because they can still make money, but they also complain about it because there's a lot of shit that goes wrong with it. So, no one is ever going to take a stand and stop playing there.
I did. I don't play anymore.
Okay, well,
100%. No, fuck no. I'm never playing.
Bots?
No chance of playing that site again, man.
No.
If you think that there is some fucked up shit happening on that site, then I'll sell you things all day long, right? I mean, come on, man. While I appreciate the passion, I respect the passion, but you listen to the guy talk about certain aspects of the business. Like the reason why it's the biggest site is because it's illegal to do, and there's no competition, right? And you kind of seen Global make a deal with Poker Central, and whatever their marketing plan's different, their approach is different. You see Addiction, their approach is different, right? The reason why ACR is the biggest site is because Phil Nagy's putting in the most effort in certain areas, and he does certain things really, really, really well. But come on. I mean, is this a guy you're really going to be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy's putting a stop to what's happening out there? I don't think so. But at the same time, it doesn't mean other people can't win money, and doesn't mean other people don't support the site. It doesn't mean you shouldn't play on the site.
I guess I have no idea what's even happening.
I don't play on the site.
I don't play on there either. But let's pivot into something else.
Yeah.
Our good friends at Barstool Sports were
yeah.
once again in the news, making national headlines with the Zillion Beers marketing genius of this guy, Dana, who is basically just a cameraman.
Yeah, do you know the story about this guy? So I assumed when I first saw this Zillion Beers thing trending that, oh, okay, it's one of their personalities, and these guys are always grabbing headlines, and it's funny, and it's sharp. Turns out this guy Dana is actually just a cameraman.
Okay.
And his thing was, one day he was sort of pissed drunk, and he was operating a camera, I believe.
He was on Periscope.
And he turned the camera around on himself
Yeah.
and just chugged a beer, smashed his head with the can. And I believe Zillion Beers sort of popped out of his mouth, and it started to catch on. He was doing funny things. All the stoolies, if you will, jumped in, and they thought this guy was hilarious.
Those guys are geniuses, man.
It's amazing.
They work together and collaborate with each other on such a scale that is anyone who wants to get better at business and what they're doing should study their entire model and approach to how they do everything, because they're one of the fastest growing companies in terms of on the social media world in the entire world right now. So they are a model for a way you can do things. Now, everyone doesn't agree with their strategy and how they say things and the things that they say, because everyone gets outraged about everything now, but they do a lot of things really well, including this, right? They just they run with these little moments and they get a lot of support.
Right.
Poker world, something happens, there's not really that same support because it isn't. So, right, I agree. They're really smart about it.
It's just ridiculous. The kid raised over $1.5 million in 11 days selling merchandise,
Where's
all
the money
labeled
go?
Zillion Beers. So it all went into their store.
Okay.
It was all apparel that he sold.
and
Nice.
his reward
So-
he's giving to charity. So
yeah.
Portnoy is getting rich off of this.
So
obviously.
Dave Portnoy, the president, obviously, he said, okay, I'm going to give you $100,000 cash if you sell $1 million. He did it. Then he said, okay, if you sell $1.5 million, I will fly you and 7 of your closest friends first class to Vegas. I'm going to get you all suites, and I will pay for your wedding with his girlfriend that he also made along this Zillion Beers challenge, who, by the way, she's a part of the Bills Mafia. Shut up, Bills Mafia. And so here we have it. So now next week, they're all going to be in Vegas getting married, this guy and this gal, living the high life, and he donated that $100,000 cash, this kid, Dana, to charity. All of it. He just gave all the money away. So Dave refused to let him do that and said, okay, no. I'm just giving you $20,000 more, and you cannot give it away. You have to just keep it because you're broke, and you're from New York, and you're just drunk all the time. So you do something with this $20,000.
That sounds awesome.
The real question here is, what's our big idea, Joey? Can we brainstorm?
So I
get my notebook out right now.
We needed you for
what's
this.
in the notebook?
Yeah, we need the Zillion Beers.
All I got to do is I get my notebook out right now. I get 2 bottles of water. I start pacing back and forth. I get my pen out. Right. The idea. I got about 100. I'll get about 100 ideas on paper right here, man.
Wow.
It's not hard. I got. I'm a master at coming up with ideas for anything.
Is it merchandise ideas? Is it like event ideas?
It could be anything, right? Let's do it. We'll do it here, right? Watch. Okay, so Zillion Beers, right? What is it? They're drinking a beer, right? Okay, they take a beer, they put a name to it. Okay, boom. So now they have a name for something, right? So now you figure out, okay, well, what do you want to do? Right? Is it going to be a relatable activity? Drinking beer is sort of what their audience likes to do. So what is it about poker? Is there something in poker you could do? Right? Is there a poker challenge? Is it an impression challenge?
Yeah,
Are you doing an impression of someone?
Yeah, that's what we need you for.
Right?
Yeah, we need you to come up with it.
Right, exactly. It's not. I don't think it's hard to do.
And then we need you to
If you guys go with it, then why do we got to sell merchandise though?
Well, I don't know. It just seemed like the right thing to do.
You just want to sell merch?
Yeah, we should sell merchandise.
Brent wants to do a get rich quick scheme to get some money out of this.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I'm just wondering, like this Zillion Beers thing, as you know, say what you want about Barstool, but they bring their people together so well. Poker seems so splintered in such a way. We need to find something overarching that people from across stakes and interest levels can all agree on, that it's something cool to get behind.
Well, it takes somebody to do that oftentimes, right?
That's why you're here.
They have, I probably know the most groups of people in terms of in the poker world and have relationships with those people because I've been a part of most different poker worlds and I keep up with them. I like a lot of people. I like hanging out with them. So you're right. You sort of need someone to bring those people together, and we don't really see that in poker anymore. It's because everyone is so segmented, and no one really says, "Hey, why don't I reach out to these vloggers and just see what's up? See what they're up to, see how they're doing." No one really thinks to do that for whatever reason. No one wants to support other people because it's such a cutthroat industry in some ways, and people think that if they put someone else on, that means they're going to make less money and have less opportunity, and they never want to share anything. Everyone's so focused on oh my God, someone took this, did that. It's they fucking freak out about everything. So I think that's what you see, all this segregation is well, it's every guy for themselves in some ways, or every girl, every guy, whoever it is for themselves. So you're right, we don't see much, but I think we're seeing more of it. I think now that people talk about it, I'm talking about it more, you guys are talking about it more, I think we'll see more people being brought together in terms of gathering around something, a movement, sort of say, right? Whatever.
Out
it is.
of line movement. I always thought you had the best one. You saw people jumped on board whenever you were OOL out of line, Joey.
Bad idea.
Man, like little videos going along with out of line, little T-shirts, hoodies printed up. Joey, let's get back into that movement, out of line movement.
No, it's too devastating for my life,
that's
man.
it though. We need.
I'm getting old. I mean, listen, I came here, I looked young. Now I'm getting old. I mean, it's just like you go.
I don't see the grays coming in yet. You still got a nice full head of brown hair.
It's definitely gray for
it's
sure.
Getting gray. Getting a little salt and pepper in there.
I mean, I was literally stressed out for 8 years playing online poker every single day, right? It only went up and up. No matter how much I won or lost, I was stressed out every single day. Every day I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
All right, let's do something stress-free. Can we do that?
I mean,
Can I do what I want to do?
Let me tee this up for you, Joey.
Yeah.
Brent said that this is probably the funniest thing
I just want Joey's reaction.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, take it away.
So it's like, you know what word association is? So, for example, I'll say, we're going to do word association for poker players.
Okay.
We'll call this the snap call segment. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, example, I say Superman. First poker player you think of when I say Superman would be. So this is how
Mike
the game would be
Postle.
played. There you go, Mike Postle. Okay, so that's the example.
Right.
I'm going to go through 5 of these names.
Let's do it.
And you have to do it really fast. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Number 1, Tiger Woods.
Really fast. Why did I do it really fast?
It's
What
called
about like a
the
second?
first
what
thing.
if
All right,
Remko
fine,
does
give me
it
3
fast?
seconds,
What if
yeah.
Remko does it fast and then I take a second to gather my thought on it?
Okay, fine. If you both want to do it, for crying out loud, it wasn't supposed to be that difficult. Tiger Woods.
Yeah, Phil Ivey.
Phil Ivey. Jesus Christ, this is supposed to be the easy one.
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's not. Okay, Tiger Woods.
Nobody.
Nobody. So no one's out there that's a GOAT.
There's no name
All
that
right.
pops into your head of like, that's the guy that makes you think of.
No.
Wow.
All right, well, this game's going to really suck for you. Okay, number 2, Leonardo DiCaprio.
So what would that be, like a guy who fucks a lot of models, who's got the best
You tell
movies,
me. I
who's
don't
like
know. How do
who's
you
also
perceive
great
Leo?
at poker?
That's not how I see Leo. I see him
Jungle.
as a great actor.
Jungle Man.
Jungle Man. Okay,
I
so
love
Leo
that.
DiCaprio,
That's
Jungle
good.
Man. Okay.
That's really good.
All right, number 3, Howard
Perkins.
Stern. There you go, Perkins.
No,
Okay.
Howard Stern.
Howard
no.
Stern.
I was gonna go with Leo DiCaprio. Never mind. I don't want Al Perkins like that. Shout out to
Okay.
Perkins. But okay, so Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, yeah.
Well, most people probably say me, so I go myself. Howard Stern.
I
yeah,
think that's
yeah,
very
go-
fair. I was hoping you would actually say yourself.
I
Howard
go with
Stern.
myself. Yeah.
Okay, all right, number 4. You'll like this one a lot.
Okay.
Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's Jungle kind of
That-
man.
that
too,
has
right
Jun-
now.
that has to be Jungle Man,
I mean,
right?
obviously, Bilzerian's like trying to be the modern day Hugh Hefner sort of thing
Yeah.
like that. So, but then poker, like, there's no one that's really doing it like that. You know what I mean?
So you got Jungle? Or you're going
Well-
Bilzerian? I think Bilzerian's a fair answer. He calls himself a poker
Bilzerian's
player.
obviously the answer.
Okay,
right?
there
I
it
mean,
is.
That's
All
all.
right.
It's what the guy's brand is based off of, being around women. Like,
Okay,
that's what
this is
he
my
is.
last one.
Okay.
All right, Donald Trump.
You know what's different about Hefner and Bilzerian is I think Hefner actually enjoyed the women, while Bilzerian doesn't seem to necessarily enjoy it.
Yeah.
He just seems to like be there and like, just fuck. I don't know the fuck guy. He just doesn't seem very happy. At least Hefner's smiling. He's walking around in the robe. He's like,
You don't think Bilzerian seems like he's out there smiling with all the Instagram
I've watched
stuff?
every
Yeah?
I've watched every interview he's ever done.
Not
so
smiling?
Not
Oh.
no. I don't take it as like.
So you want to remove Dan Bilzerian from Hugh Hefner and give that to someone else?
Well, who else is like walking around with a bunch of beautiful ladies
Well,
except Jungle Man?
Jungle Man is probably the right call.
All right,
Right.
so it is
Hugh
Jungle
Hefner.
Man again.
The thing is, I think Jungle Man is like 15 times more out of line than what we think and see, right? So that dude is up to some shit. I'll tell you that right. That man.
Would he
There are
be,
things that I don't want to know.
I
would
love
would
Jungle
Jungle
Man.
Man be the single best person in poker to follow around for a year with a camera and make a documentary about?
I mean, that'd be hilarious. There's no way that would ever be viewed publicly. This guy, I mean, come on. If he's in like the Croatian brothel, like wherever the Croatian where the ladies are at, you know what's happening in those places? Like it's just debauchery, degeneracy. He's like playing online poker, high stakes. There's 15 models in a room dancing. Like I'm telling you, the camera wouldn't be allowed in those places, man. It's just. So what was the last one?
Okay,
you
last
said?
one. Donald Trump.
I mean, the only person that really has personality, it seems like, is maybe Luke Schwartz, But
Wow, Luke Schwartz going Donald
no
Trump.
one else
there.
really like.
Yeah, all right.
But he's not that hated, I don't think. I don't think people hate Luke Schwartz.
I'm not
They find
saying
him funny, yeah.
this isn't my. Well, is Trump hated? I don't think so. Right?
Is he not
Well,
hated?
I don't know.
Are you on
tell me.
Twitter?
It looks like half the people do, half the
Every
people
single.
don't.
Oh my God! I can't fucking believe this. Oh my God! It's like their life exists to like put down Trump, whatever
Yeah,
he
no,
says
some
and does. Did you
definitely
see
do,
his
yeah.
hair that day? It's like, listen, Nancy, what about your fucking hair right now? You know what I mean? Why don't we go to Nancy's life and critique her hair? It's really
That's
easier.
it.
People always critiquing people online all the time. I mean,
right.
that's what they love. Look at his tan. Oh my God, can you believe he had to get a spray tan right now? It's okay. Put a fucking fitting shirt on or something like that, right? That's the retort back you'd say back to them. So it's like people love to talk shit so much, and then as other people do it, they're like, "How dare you say that?" It's this very contradictory world
So
going on
Luke
out
Schwartz,
there, man.
Donald Trump. That's the final answer.
I mean, I guess
It's a tough
I don't
one.
know.
Yeah.
Luke Schwartz is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely a special character.
Says it like
I mean,
it is.
This
All
is
right.
definitely a special
That was it.
character.
I just wanted to have fun with that game.
Yeah, I mean that was very insightful.
What about you? Let me give some names to you.
Okay,
go
for
go.
it. Yeah.
LeBron James.
Steven Chidwick.
Okay. Conor McGregor.
Oh, really good one. Conor McGregor talks a lot of shit. See, I would probably say Luke Schwartz there,
Right.
just because maybe the accent.
He's Irish and Luke's from
Yeah,
UK,
they sound
but
the same to me.
close.
Okay. Close enough.
Yeah.
Habib Nurmagomedov.
That's the guy that beat him.
That's the Russian guy. Yeah.
That's the
He's
Russian guy.
undefeated, who's
Okay,
been trading.
Nikita Batsakuski.
Okay, I can see that. See, that's so sad that all these guys are so unknown for the most part, just because there's no.
Not to me. I
Well,
know these guys.
Of course, you know.
Milkman Nikita.
You know a little bit about them, right?
That's why I
But-
like the game, because it's going to be different for you as it's going to be for me.
Okay.
All right, I want to get into one final serious topic here on
Yeah.
the show. How are
Do
you
it.
gonna How are you gonna fix YouTube? Because there's a lot of shit going down lately. This video might be flagged already. We
Right.
don't even know.
It's
Like,
already taken.
Can I
down.
be? I'll tell you guys something, right? If they just took my videos down, I would just start making other content. So in a way, it'd be a blessing in disguise if it happened to me. But I think that what needs to be done here is that somebody needs to get in touch and have a personal connection with somebody at YouTube to say, hey, what are we doing, right? Someone who has influence, who knows people, who knows how to reach people, knows how to get in touch with people, right? So there's a few people in the industry that can do that, and I think that's what needs to be done in this situation. So, right, but in terms
We were
of the
down,
videos
and
being
they brought
taken
us
down,
back.
yeah,
To life.
we got flagged for a few videos that was
brought us
just
back, Joey.
just poker hands. Like it's crazy.
yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with their algorithm and how they're detecting things in the back end and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll get taken care of if enough people rally behind it, enough people speak out about it too. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty serious issue if people are not able to make poker content when there's content of all kind online. You know what I mean? I don't understand why it would be a problem now. So maybe it has something to do with something in their back end of things.
You're saying that you would pivot into making videos about something else if you're
I've already got my strategy I want to do. Yeah.
What-
yeah.
what-
I'm gonna-
what are you
at
make-
some point, I'm going to try to have the biggest YouTube channel in the world. Yeah.
In the world?
In the world. Oh yeah, definitely. I think I have the right strategy.
Can
for
I
it.
can I come with you?
Yeah. Whatever you want to do. You want to be a part of it?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Be on the creative team.
Yeah, I just want.
I'll probably have like 10 people on my
I just
creative
want to
team.
be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
definitely.
bring the wooden hand.
What are you going to be the new PewDiePie? Are you going to do
No,
like
definitely not. No,
gaming
no.
gaming videos?
No, not game. I mean, more of like pop culture sort of topics
Sports
leveraged
betting?
with optimization YouTube videos, because there's certain strategies you can use on YouTube that will crush, right? There's just formats, things you can talk about, the way you present it, the kind of energy you bring to it. So I guess what I've been doing, I study all the top content, all the industries. I say, okay, what elements are they using that they're doing that I can potentially incorporate into what I own, what I do, and what I talk about. And then I think that if you make content about these popular topics that are going on in all these different parts of the world, especially on the internet culture, then that's a recipe for success, assuming that the audience agrees with what you're going to say. And I think that my production will be great. I think that what I'm going to put out there will be great. I think the energy will be good. I think the way I'll format the videos and can tell the stories is going to be on point. And I'm able to do these things very quickly.
When does this happen?
So,
when are you starting?
I'm not sure. I want
Whenever
to.
they take down his poker video.
No,
Okay.
I think my plan is I'm going to test a lot of these ideas out in poker. So my content coming up is going to be a little different, and it'll be differently formatted. It'll tell different stories. It'll be more even about me in some ways too, and just testing ideas out, sort of going on over what I think will work really well, and I know it's going to work really well. So just a matter of time before I decide to do that. But I want to stay in poker now for a while. I want to see what happens. I still want got a lot of stories I want to tell, a lot of things I want to talk about that happened over the history of the game that I don't think is commonly discussed. So yeah, there's still things I want to get into. Plus, I want to help support Phil and support Run It Once as well.
Yeah. So what's coming up on your channel? I know you have some podcasts coming up. Brad Owen's joining you.
Brad
joining the
Owen,
show?
yes sir, the top online poker vlogger right now, is crushing it, very consistent, one of the biggest poker ambassadors in the entire world right now. Really happy to kind of hear his story. I mean, I know him.
You're
so
snagging him on
I know-
Friday?
Yeah, we got him coming on
Like,
Friday.
we're going to
yeah.
try and get him the following week.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
we're
Yeah,
going to
you
get
guys-
the leftover Owen.
Get him on, man. You might as well right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make. I think I'm gonna make a video about him on Thursday, sort of trying to figure out what makes him him. How is he so popular? How did he rise the ranks so quickly? So I got that. I got a Galfond podcast coming tomorrow. Next week, I'm gonna be going over some of my biggest Potman Omaha hands from online of all time with my buddy Dylan Weissman. He's got a course coming out in Upswing Poker for a new Potman Omaha course.
He's doing some sort of bankroll challenge.
Yeah,
right?
he's doing bankroll challenge, 5K to 25K right now on Twitch. And they got a new course coming out. Him and this guy Chris, who's one of the top Potman Omaha players on World Series of Poker right now. It'll be up on I think the 4th or the 3rd or 2nd or something like that of March. So I think a lot of my content's going to be more to generate attention and generate buzz for that. Also tell some more of my own stories as well. And so yeah, I'm going to do that with him, have some podcasts with him, and then we got the Poker Awards coming up. Maybe I'll take down an award. Maybe someone else will take down an award.
What
we'll
about
see
4
happens.
awards for Joey?
I think you're going to clean it up. Johnny.
Billie Eilish just holding all the awards.
I don't think I will, but I'm excited for that event. I'm very
What are you
excited.
gonna
wear? Wear some
You
fly.
got something
I
planned?
got something coming up.
3-piece?
Yeah, we bought the rocket. Yeah.
Oh wow.
About to get after it. About to get nice, dressed up. I know.
Really?
I hear shout out Sam Simmons. I hear we're going out after the show ends. So anytime we all.
Prez is taking everybody out?
Listen, I don't know who's going.
Is that
but
real?
I don't know who's
Wow.
going to the club. But
Are you
all I know
invited?
is.
Did you hear that?
All
Not
I
yet.
know is
Wow.
we're going to the club, right? So
I heard
anytime we
rumors
get a
about
little-
it. I don't know if it's.
I haven't been to a club in years.
It's
so
gonna be
maybe
You
not.
go
I've
out.
never
With,
been
you
to
go
a
out
club.
with you go out with me. I mean, if Rich is there, Sam's there, right? Like that's all you need right there.
What
That's
am
a
I going to
recipe
tell
for
my
fun.
wife? It must just be a long
Tell her you're gonna
award
be
show.
getting out of line.
Yeah, just
That's
a
what
long
you tell
show.
her. You're gonna be drinking a
a
little
lot
bit.
of post-production.
A lot of post-production.
A lot of
yeah,
stuff going
yeah.
on.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
No, yeah,
definitely.
man. Listen, I'm excited for the awards coming up here. I'm pumped up for the Galfond Challenge.
Okay, Remko, go into broadcast mode. Point to the camera and tell them that we're done.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Brent Hanks, Joey Ingram, thank you guys so
You
much
guys,
for
listen,
being on the
man.
show.
Whoa, you got to tell
Whoa.
me. Whoa. Listen, guys, if you're watching right now, you got to make sure you smash that like button on
No,
here.
he's
Make
gonna
sure
do
you
that.
guys
He's gonna
subscribe
say
to the
that.
channel. If you guys are subscribed, if you enjoy, let us know what you thought about the video in the comments below. What did somebody say that you agree with, disagree with? Do you think Luke Schwartz should be brought out? Do you think we should celebrate him as one of the top personalities in the entire poker world? Maybe we give him an honorary poker award. What do people think? I don't know. They might think that, right?
Also, shout out to Tyler Rolfe. You're in my DMs. Some people allegedly sent 5-star reviews, pictures of that as proof. I might send
better.
them some swag.
They better.
Allegedly. So you guys
They
did
better.
that. D. Money, Tyler Ralph, Ivo Margutti, Austin Coeli. There's a few more that I'm probably forgetting. Mark Gruber. Thank you guys. Mark
out,
Gruber
Mark.
sounds like McGruber.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark Gruber. Yeah, shout out Mark Gruber. All you guys that slid in, keep an eye on your mailbox.
You're getting a lot of out of line DMs. I know a family
No, I
guy
don't
like
get
yourself.
No,
you know,
because
that voice, that
I'm a
personality.
married husband.
Uh-huh.
I don't get anything out of line. You can't do that to me.
I think Remko probably, he's like that. He's got that little European swag going on with him.
yeah.
He's got the clean cut hair, the
total freak.
the beard. I mean, listen, I don't know.
I'm a cyclist, guys. I'm very boring. But what I do want to know from you guys, if you're watching the show right now, let us know in the comments if you think when this guy turns 40, if he's going to get into the Poker Hall of Fame. He's got a few years left. He's going to make some high-profile content.
Stop it.
Is he going to make it? That's what I want to know. Also, if you're listening to the podcast in audio format, please know every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, or 9 p.m. Central European Time, we'll be live on YouTube going forward every single week. So don't miss us if you want to chime in live to the show. If you are an audio listener, please leave those reviews, 5 stars on iTunes. We need it very much. And then also leave us those comments and then slide into those DMs with Brent, and he might send you some swag. For Brent and Joey Ingram, my name is Rinkema. Thank you guys so much for watching the show, and we'll catch you guys next week.